Today on Top 5 Friday, we're going to talk about my top 5 rose fragrances. I was having a bad hair day. Welcome to Top 5 Friday on J Royal, everyone. If you're new to this channel, then let me fill you in. 4 to 5 videos per week. Every Friday happens to be a top 5 list on fragrances. If you're new, why not subscribe? Click the notification bell so you get to see my face all the time. The note of rose in men's fragrance is tricky. Although not known to be a very manly dude-like note, when incorporated correctly, rose can be a very effective accord. The fragrances that I'm going to talk about today are some of my favorites and can easily be deemed as unisex. Before I get into the list, I have 2 honorable mentions, 2 shoutouts, 1 fragrance which I do not own, which is Declaration d'un Soir by Cartier. It's one of the best basic rose designer fragrances for men. It is a pretty straightforward rose fragrance for men, combined with woodiness, some sandalwood. Some people will say that the rose in that fragrance is a bit too sharp, a bit too forward, maybe a bit synthetic, but yet it still maintains a light quality, so you can wear it casually, even though it's rose, which is pretty formal. Also, the price is good. You can get it pretty cheap on the gray market. The other honorable mention is a fragrance I used to own, Gris Montagne by Dior. Obviously another rose fragrance being part of this video, and it's another fresh take on rose. It's light, airy, unisex rose that men and women can both pull off equally. The longevity is stellar. It's about 8-9 hours on my skin, and it's about an arm's length of projection for a couple hours. Great performing fragrance considering how light it is. The only reason I sold it is because there's another rose fragrance I liked a bit more, so I did a bit of a swap situation. And now for the main event. My number 5 rose-based fragrance in my collection is Noir de Noir by Tom Ford. Within the fragrance community, this is one of the most popular rose fragrances. Perfectly unisex, like pretty much all the private blends for Tom Ford, Noir de Noir is a classic rose-patchouli combination. Those 2 notes alone make it fairly unisex because I would say rose is a bit feminine, patchouli definitely leans masculine. So the 2 together, it's kind of right down the middle. In the background, there is a little bit of oud, but don't be scared, it isn't very potent. It just gives it a little bit of grit. When the fragrance dries down a bit, the vanilla starts to creep in, and there's some saffron in here as well. Noir de Noir is only number 5, simply because I don't wear it very often. It definitely makes a statement. This is not a Bleu de Chanel, this is not the one. It has very specific use cases, but when it works, it really, really works. At number 5, Noir de Noir. My number 4 rose fragrance is Oud Palau by Diptyque. This is one of your classic oud rose combinations. Now, Oud Palau differs from Noir de Noir because instead of rose patchouli, you got rose oud. Laotian oud to be specific. The oud in here is way more prominent. Oftentimes this fragrance draws similarities to Oud Ispahan by Christian Dior, but what makes it even more unique is the added tobacco, and there's even a little bit of booziness in here as well. To my nose and to a lot of people's noses, this is a lot more masculine than Oud Ispahan. The rose is a little more subtle, the oud is more pronounced, but the dry down is phenomenal. It is a hell of a performer as well. The reason it's number 4 on this list is because it's strictly cold weather, and the rose isn't necessarily the main player. It is balanced pretty nicely with the oud. At number 4, Oud Palau. My number 3 rose-based fragrance in my collection is Lyric Man by Amouage. What I love about Lyric Man is it's so bold with its use of rose, but instead of an oud rose or a patchouli rose, you got lime rose. Rose and citrus is what makes this fragrance so cool, so unique, and ultimately masculine. But the main citrus in this is lime, which is really interesting to me. It has a slight bitter quality, which gives it some character. And in the background, there is lovely incense as well. And Amouage does incense very well. Really have to enunciate that it's incense, not something else. This is the fragrance that I sold the Gris Montagne to get. Because of the 2, this was my preferred fresh rose. It projects more, it lasts longer, and it's just so lovely in the air as well. Versatility is fairly high with this fragrance, although I wouldn't wear it as casually as I would my number 2 fragrance. At number 3, Lyric Man. My number 2 rose-based fragrance is L'Homme Ultime by Yves Saint Laurent. This is my baby. My bae. Do yourself a favor, everyone, and join the hashtag Ultime. L'Homme Ultime is by far the most signature scent-worthy rose fragrance in my collection. It has the DNA of the original L'Homme. It definitely has ginger, it has a little bit of a woody quality to it. It also has the cardamom from La Nuit de l'Homme. But what makes it different from the other flankers is the rose. Rose is the main player here, but it's blended so masterfully that it doesn't smell feminine at all. It's still masculine and fresh and vibrant, and it's also eau de parfum, which means it'll last longer. It lasts long on your skin, it projects in the warm weather and the cold weather. Totally versatile fragrance. I would like to think that I popularized this fragrance a little bit because I did, but it just missed the number 1 spot because there is one other fragrance that is more deserving of it. At number 2, just barely, L'Homme Ultime. And my number 1 rose-based fragrance is Portrait of a Lady by Frédéric Malle. If we're talking rose-based fragrances, this is the queen. Although this is another rose patchouli combination, there's so much to it. There's incense, there's clove, there's woodiness. There's also some fruity qualities to it too. It has so much going on, it has so much depth, and it develops so much on your skin. To me, this fragrance is pure class. It is extremely complex and so nice to wear. And it can either work on a lady or it can be used to impress a lady. I use this fragrance for very special occasions, and it knocks it out of the park whenever I put it on. The level of confidence I get when I wear this is through the roof, because there are few things that smell as divine as this. Keep in mind, this is not a perfume for everyone. This is definitely one you want to sample, just because it's not totally accessible compared to all the designer fragrances out there. But for the connoisseurs, for the people that want the creme de la creme of rose fragrances, you have to check this one out. At number 1, Portrait of a Lady. Rose is not the easiest notes to pull off, especially for us guys. It is an extremely forward floral note. And I'm not talking about the Jeremy fragrance, moving forward. I mean, it's in your face rose quality. But when rose is done correctly, and when it's combined with other notes in masterful ways, it's magical. What are some of your go-to rose fragrances? All of our links to the Facebook group and Instagram are down below. And if you like what you see, then go ahead and like the video. Thank you for watching my list on roses. Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave.